Alafia, power is ultimate. Abaru, Oboye, Obosheshe. Apologies to all the students at the African Traditional Religion Academy. I know we were supposed to go live on YouTube, just getting in off the road, didn't want to rush anything, just wanted things to be free-flowing. And Shay was speaking about Osun, so I wanted things to be free-flowing. But I did want to get the knowledge and content to you, Shay. So Abaru, Oboye, Obosheshe, Ikansen, faith that all is well, faith that you'll find this video in good health and good peace. Shay. ID Awori. ID Awori was our Odu for the week. ID Awori is governed by Osun. A baby. They speak about Osun's a baby. Osun is trying to show us her hand mirror. We are in the month of March. We are at the spring equinox. We are at the beginning of spring. Spring has come back on us. This is what we consider the real New Year's. Why is March associated with this energy? Why are we speaking so heavily about Osun in March? The reasons why we're speaking so heavily about Osun in March is because it is the history of women. This is the Women's History Month. Osun not only came back for the Odu for the entire year, and Osun will govern this year, but specifically March. Specifically March because it is a springtime. Once again, I said it's the real New Year's. This is the time that the flowers are starting to bloom. I was just looking outside. The peach tree is blooming. The plum tree is blooming. You got our little echo bush out there. Our echo bush start to bloom. This is when the flowers will begin to come back. This is when the life will begin to come back. We just left the winter stage, the dormant stage, the stagnant stage. Nothing was growing. Everything out there was dead. Now we're rebirthing. Now we're coming into the energy of rebirthing. So we must remember that the month of March belongs to Osun. The springtime belongs to Osun. And the springtime is the true New Year's. You got to look at the spring qualities. We're talking about growth. We're talking about renewal. We're talking about equilibriums. You have to have the right equilibrium to grow in the right manner. You got to be eating the right things, getting the right sunlight, getting the right oxygen, as far as humans go. Because remember this, once again, we're talking about renewal. We're talking about rebirthing. We're talking about starting again. We're talking about the strong comeback. So we got to remember the qualities of what spring is trying to inflict or bloom or blossom into the world. We got to remember that this is a time of awakening. This is a time of pure consciousness. And once again, I said a baby. Like Osun is trying to show us her hand mirror. What do I mean by the mirror? The mirror is trying to teach us about reflection. But we'll get back to that in a minute. Once again, I said that this is a time for the great comeback. They were counting you out. Maybe your plans didn't work in 2023. It's time for 2024. It's the third year, it's the third month of 2024, the new year. This is the New Year's, when the New Year start. And what is this synchronicity behind that? You got January, you got February, then you got March. Whenever you see the number 3, who do we speak about? We speak about Asu. Who is Asu? Who is Elegua? Who is Papa Legba? We're talking about advancing. We're talking about opening the door. We're talking about walking our path. We're talking about, moving forward. Once again, the great comeback. We're talking about resilience. So we got to keep the understanding of the knowledge in mind. We're talking about self-evaluations. Once again, going back to going back to Osun's mirror. Self-reflection, self-evaluation. We must be looking at ourselves to evaluate in the correct manner, to know who we are, to know where we're going, to know what worked last year and know what didn't work last year, and what do we need to apply this year. Once again, we're talking about information, knowledge, and application of the two, and this is what makes the two valuable. Over in Yoruba land, you will see in different tribes in Nigeria and different things like that, specifically around Oyo, they will have different festivals. They have different festivals for Ogun. They will have different festivals for Osun. Why are they having festivals for Ogun? Because Ogun is for success. Ogun is for victory. Ogun is for overcoming and becoming victorious of battles and wars and different things like that. We're talking about continuation. Ashe. Remember, Ogun is being the masculine energy. Osun being the free-flowing, the feminine energy, the continuation. Ashe. So with these two together is when you get the continuation, when you get the strength, when you get the strength of brute, and you get the passive flowing but very vigorous energy of the river, of the moving forward. We got to remember these two as far as love, prosperity, and vitality. Ashe. First, you have to accumulate love. Once you accumulate love, this is when you can start to grow. This is when you start to obtain prosperity, attain abundance. And this is when vitality comes. Another way to look at this is man, woman, and child. We can do relationships, sex, and then birthing. Ashe. We have to understand the balance of the equilibrium of the three. This is the importance of understanding the balance of feminine energy and masculine energy. Not Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, but Father, Mother, and Child. Ashe. We have to understand the balance between the two. We have to dive into what Osun is trying to tell us. She was the backbone of the family. She was the backbone of the village. She was the backbone of her empires and kingdoms. So we got to keep this in mind. To the individuals, I know a lot of people is going to watch this video. And remember, Osun was not a hoe. Osun was not a hoe. Osun is not about shaking your ass, right? It's not about all that over sexuality. Yes, she was a sexual feminine energy. Yes, she was about fertility. Yes, she was about love. Yes, she's about relationships. But she is not a hoe. She is not a frivolous, sexualized being who didn't have any control, who didn't have any discipline, who just was emotional and let the emotions control her and just slept with anybody. No, she had a plan. She had a strategic plan. And the love that she had was the fuel of this plan, was the fuel of this mission. So we got to keep that in mind, that Osun was a disciplined woman. Osun was a calculated woman. Osun was a strong-minded woman. Osun did not make decisions based off of emotions. Now, we have many padiki where she speaks about, or we speak about her dealing with her emotions in different circumstances, hence Shango, but based on the massive collection of her energy, the massive collection of her consciousness. Once you dive into the psychology, the mental properties, the mental principles that Osun had, Osun was a leader. She was a true queen. She was a true madam. So by this role that she played a more monumentous, a more virtuous, right? She a more vivacious role for all of us in general. And this leads me into using the mind during these times, Ashe, setting intentions, setting agendas. And this is why spring is so important, because during this time you need to be focusing on your goals. You need to be writing down in those notepads. You need to be writing down in those journals. You need to be writing in those dream incubation pamphlets that we have for you, to understand that we have to make a tract schematic about how to get to our goals, how to set the right intentions, how to have the right agenda based on our missions, our goals, our dreams, and so we can eventually obtain these different accomplishments. Okay? We also see, what do we see in March? We see Easter. What are we about to go into? The energy of Easter. Jesus rose during this time, they say. Ashe? If Jesus was real and he rose, this would be the most understanding time when he came back. It wouldn't have been in December and January where they talk about the New Year's, where everything is dormant, where everything is dead. No, when he got maybe birthed around that time, but once he went through the murder or the whatever is part of his story, they say he rose around this time. And why did he rise around this time? And based off this energy of Osun, based off this energy of spring, based off the springtime being the real New Year's. What also do we see in replication? During Easter, what is the main color they use? And during Easter, the main color they use is the brighter colors. Ashe, they use the yellow. Who is yellow? Osun. They use the pinks. Ashe, this is when we start talking about, they use the baby blues. This is when we see Orisa Oko come into play as far as fertility, as far as birth, as far as rebirthing, as far as him putting in the work in the fields. And then throughout the dormant stages, he was able to reap the benefits after those stages. So this is something to keep in mind as well. Once again, think about the yellows, think about the golds. These frequencies are able to be used on more abundant scales. The blues, the pinks, the greens, Ashay. These colors are activated during this time pattern. We have a full moon coming up. We have the eclipse coming up. This is time for manifestation. This is time for growing the schematic, growing the blueprint to gain abundance and prosperity for the remainder of the year. Ashay, why is Ramadan held in March? For us, some of us is participating in Ramadan, and that's highly reasons why we made this. We had to postpone the YouTube live is because we was just lacking energy and just different things like that. We had a lot of things going in. We had to finally eat around that time. So time just didn't work out. But anyway, around Ramadan, this is the time where you're fasting, Ashay. Fasting is very, very important around this time. This is the renewal season. You need to be detoxing. You need to be fasting. You need to be juicing. You need to be eating more fruits and vegetables, alkaline fruits and vegetables for the gut. You need to be drinking more teas. You need to be working on the health. If you can get in a curriculum now for the rest of the year during that dormant stage when it comes back, because everything is a revolving cycle here. When that dormant stage comes back at the end of November, December, January, February, you're going to want to have practices in place as far as diet, because that diet will help your mental health, that diet will help your emotional health, your spiritual health. So when after this great sun goes away and we go back into that winter stage, you're going to need to be building up a frequency. Use this energy now, the third month, the springtime, the energy of Osun as far as free flowing and loving thyself. People always talk about Osun and love. You need to love yourself first. This is what Osun is trying to tell us. This is why she got that hand mirror. So you can, be a little bit conceited. You can worry about yourself a little bit more. So this is something, we always got to keep in mind. The body is very important. We must understand that Osun can be understood as man. They also speak about, while we're speaking about Ramadan, they speak about Allah. They speak about Allah, have to be a creation, right? It has to be arm, leg, arm, head. It has to be man. We understand that what the true God in this frequency, in this dimension is the feminine energy, the woman. The woman is the first thing that can create. Don't try to sell me or anyone else on that Adam and Eve story talking about man was created first. We understand that woman is an older species. We understand that just because evolution is expansive doesn't mean that it works based off fairy tales. You can't make me believe that once upon a time we came from man's rib and then all of a sudden over a short period of time, because of thousands and thousands of years, a short period of time, we talk about how old the world is. You can't tell me that, now all of a sudden through evolution, we don't come from a rib anymore. We come from the woman's vaginal canal. We come from the woman's womb, Ashay. And this is why the rib placement in the woman is different, Ashay. They say about the number of ribs between the man and the woman and different things like that. Well, if you take your time and use consciousness, it makes perfect sense if you are enlightening the woman. If you look at the woman as a god, you look at the woman as the first species that was able to birth another species, Ashay. So we got to keep that in mind. Once again, just saying that it is about man. It is about creation. So we talk about Osun. Arm, leg, arm, head. That's 5. Osun is 5. Man is 5. We talk about the star, Ashay. The 5 points of the star. We talk about the 5 senses that the human body have. We're talking about sight, smell, hearing, etc., touch, etc. We're talking about the 5 senses. When it comes to sight, we got to understand that going back to the mirror, going back to self-reflection, that Osun is trying to make us evaluate ourselves. Osun is trying to make us use our eyes around this time. Osun is trying to make us use our senses for all evolution properties around this time. So this is something to keep in mind, Ashay. We also must understand just how, evolution comes in general. We talked about flowers blooming more during spring. Understand that bees, it is scientifically proven that bees work harder in March, that they start pollinating and gathering pollen and creating honey in March. We got to keep this in mind. You start seeing wasps, you start seeing honeybees, you start seeing flies, you start seeing all these other insects come back to life. And this was the renewal. This was the energy of Osun trying to tell us to keep going, trying to tell us to come back, trying to tell us to know who we are and walk on our path. So once again, we got to keep in mind about the power of women, right? We got to keep in mind about the power of Osun. We got to keep in mind about the power of spring, and that spring is the true New Year's. And, I just thought it was so important to speak about this. Adi Awadi became our Odu for the week, and Adi Awadi is owned by Osun, like we spoke about. So, if you look at our weekly readings, you can see that these attributes is always right on to where we are in frequency with the universe. So this is why we send out, this information inside of the academy or inside of our group chats, so we can understand the consciousness, so we can take time and have an epiphany and understand what energy we're dealing with. This is where the confusion comes in at, because a lot of people like to get in these practices and not deal with the knowledge and the information, and then they kind of get confused going down the road because they don't understand that Sunday is for Obatala. They don't understand that Monday is for Osu. So once they get on these days and they start receiving certain things, maybe they're giving the wrong offering. Maybe they just got their energy and their mindset set up the wrong way for this specific day and this specific energy and this specific Orisa. So this is why training is important. The schools, the academies is important. Taking time to learn and study the knowledge with an elder is very, very important in these cultures. So we just got to keep these things in mind, okay? So once again, I just want to take time to speak about this. Like I said, I wanted to go live. I wanted to answer some questions, but time just wasn't on our side today. So we will continue the normal curriculum. We will be releasing our curriculum Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week, just because we missed our Zoom meeting. So it's just something extra we want to do as far as teaching you, okay? So power is ultimate, families. Everybody stay healthy out there. Everyone start preparing and manifesting for the new year, bringing in abundance, bringing in prosperity, faith that all is well with you receiving this information, faith that you have retained some of this information. I just want to take time to say that we must take time with ourselves. Think about self. Self-care is very, very important in this season. I can't stress it enough. We go through so many wars and so many battles. Sometimes we just got to be so tough. But it's always about mastering thyself, knowing thyself, understanding thyself, being patient with thyself. This is how you can be a blessing to the rest of us. This is how we can start helping our communities and our villages if we are walking in the equilibrium of frequency. If we are walking in the frequency or abundance of Osun. So, Share Bakun family, Abaru, Oboye, Obosheshe, Ikansan.